What's up, guys? It's Josh of JBauerArt. This is Back Talk with Bauer, and we got an awesome episode tonight. We are chatting about mostly 90s stuff, but it's 90s crap we watched when we were kids. I got an awesome group of guys to chat with tonight, but before we get to that, Back Talk with Bauer is sponsored by the one, the only Kingdom of Comics. You can find them at kingdomofcomicsshop.com or kingdomofcomics.com. I forgot to double check that one. Or you can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Kingdom of Comics Shop. Make sure to put 2 S's in there. If you only put 1 S, you will not be able to find them. And you're terrible at spelling like I am. And yes, it is kingdomofcomics.com. They are an awesome comic shop based in Melbourne, Florida, 4320 South Babcock Street. Jason and Paula are the amazing owners. They have new comics. They're an authorized CGC dealer, toys, graphic novels, rare collectibles, pops, statues, back issues, and so much more. If you head over there on a Friday, check out the half off any beer with the purchase of a trade paperback or graphic novel. And also ask about, they've got a bunch of new Funko Pops of Transformers and all kinds of different things. They got Star Wars Funko Pop keychains. And then the big deal right now is this bad boy right here. If you guys... you gotta get me right ratio. What the hell? This is what happens when I have to push my own buttons. The recount, not chapter 2, issue 2. That's what I was looking for. The recount issue 2. You guys have seen them on the show before. They were on a couple of times talking about the recount. The newest one, number 2, has come out, and the awesome Brian Silverbacks did this cover. I gotta go backwards all the time. But he did the exclusive cover that you can only find at Kingdom of Comics. So if you want to support some amazing indie people, read a really cool story, and get a exclusive cover, check out Kingdom of Comics. If you can't get down to the location, check them out at kingdomofcomics.com, and you can order it through there, or you can shoot them a message on Facebook and get you squared away. And if you head down to the Kingdom, check out the artwork on the walls. I have like 6 or 7 pieces down there on display and for sale. So if you're looking for some artwork on the walls, or you just want to make me sound good and go say, hey, I came by because Josh's art is on the walls. That's why you couldn't see me so well. So check that out. Let them know that I sent you. And let's get this show on the road. What's up, guys? I am Josh of JBauerArt. This is Back Talk with Bauer, and this is episode number 46 of the Back Talk. And we got lots to chat about tonight. We got some awesome guys, awesome friends popping in for tonight to chat. Quick shout out to Kyle Nunez. Happy birthday, Kyle Nunez, all the way from Holland. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you love the shirt. Actually, if you want this shirt, we all know what it says. If you want this shirt, head over to JBauerArt.com. You can purchase this shirt, shirts from the podcast, other cool designs that I have through Threadless. You can actually get any of these paintings there. You can get prints. You can get more. There's going to be more comic covers coming soon. So JBauerArt.com is the place to get all that. And I swear to God, if my phone tells me one more time that I am live, I'm going to chuck it across the damn room. What's up, Remy? Remy's Roundtable. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for popping in. Hopefully we will have you on again soon. Kevin from NSC Live TV and Inked Marketing. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for popping in. So yeah, let's we got one more read. Speaking of Inked Marketing, Inked Marketing is is based in the Tri-Cities area of Washington State with a global reach and client base. Ink's mission is to place your comic book-based business in the correct position in the marketplace for increased visibility and growth. They provide marketing solutions for Kickstarters for comic book creators, artists, writers, publishers. Come visit www.inked.marketing and ask for a solutions guide. So yeah, they work with a variety of different podcasts like myself, like Back Talk with Bauer, to get your project scene, whatever you got going on, Kickstarters, Indiegogos, all that good stuff. Inked Marketing is the place to go. And you could get a live read just like CRIT. I think it's all spaced out, so I don't know if I'm supposed to say it as one word. But this is a brand new one. It is dropping February 24th, and it is going live on Indiegogo. From the mind of Christopher Michael comes the return of Crit, Convert, Reconnaissance, Infiltration Team. I swear to God, you guys are just putting all these big words to fuck with me. When he decided to create CRIT, he used a resource that he knew well, Dungeons and Dragons, and developed the story organically through the actions of players by recording the game sessions, and turns the story into a comic you read. Over 100 pages of content, action-packed and explosively fun. Crit is a superhero journey of discovery. 4 action-packed, fun-filled books in one package. A superhero story where Mission Impossible meets Beverly Hills. Interesting. Oh, Beverly Hills Cop vibe. It went differently. So come follow the Indiegogo campaign so you will be alerted when it starts. So shout out to Ink Marketing for all the support of the show and all they do for everybody. Go check them out. All right, so time for the actual show. I know it takes a little bit. I try to go fast as I can, so hopefully I don't bore you guys. But welcome. It's Back Talk with Bauer, and we are talking about, it's going to be a new mini-series that I want to do, so hopefully we can do a couple of these. And I know the 90s is a big, long decade with all kinds of crazy fucked upness in it. But I want to focus on tonight, which is the shit we watched growing up. I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 1987, so I'm 33 now. And I got a lot of memories of watching different stuff, movies, all kinds of stuff. But before we get into the topic at hand, we got to bring up our panelists. So let's bring up the one, the only Country. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, how we doing, sir?
Good, man. Thank you so much for popping in. Man, that image behind you just brings back so many different memories from so many different events.
I think that's the ultimate 90s picture or logo.
If she does not know what that is, she's too young for you, bro.
Exactly.
So, and then we also got the one, the only Brian from All the Small Stuff. Hello, sir. How are you?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Thanks, guys, so much for taking time out on a Tuesday night to come in and chat about random bullshit. And so my first question for you guys is, so we know where everybody is. I gave my age away and when I was born. Brian, when were you born? What year?
I was born in 88.
Okay, so you're a little younger than me. You're around the same age as my wife. Country, okay. How about you, sir?
83, so 90s was my ultimate decade.
Okay, gotcha. So you're a little older than us in the 90s, but still kind of all the close to the same wheelhouse. So yeah, that's why I wanted to get a kind of a different range of people, because I knew people would catch different stuff at different time. And so the reason I am doing this episode is I just got HBO Max a little bit ago. Sadly, I got it for Wonder Woman 1984. But I kept it. I saw the face. Yeah, that. Ooh. But I kept it. I'm waiting for the Justice League to come out and all the other goodies that will be coming out. We got Godzilla vs. Kong and all that good stuff. And so I
forget Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I can't wait for that one. That trailer looked amazing. You guys got me with the trailer, man. Don't fuck it up, or I'll be really pissed off. So I was sitting here on a Saturday or Sunday, and the desk I use this is my painting desk when it's not the podcast desk. My TV's right across there. I'm like, I need something that I've watched in a while, or I haven't watched in a while. Something that I've watched I don't have to fully focus on, but I was in the mood for something I haven't seen in a hot minute. So I'm scrolling through all the different random shit that's in there. And by the way, if you don't have HBO Max, they have all the movies. Like, my God, and we're not sponsored by them. I'm just saying, holy shit. I landed on this movie and I only got to the D's. And there was a lot more after that. So I ended up landing on Dick Tracey. Yeah. I have not seen Dick Tracey since probably it came out. And I go and I hit play. I'm like, oh, cool. This would be like a cool little throwback to play. I remember some bits here and there, some key moments. I remember the colors, the ambiance, and the look of the thing. But I totally forgot how fucking violent that thing was. My God. So I'm sitting there watching it. The first 15 to 20 minutes, I think at least 7 to 8 people died, like right off the bat. Like they plowed the back. One of the group of gangsters plowed. And spoilers alert for a 20-plus-year-old movie, but they plow through this garage door, and they come onto these other gangsters playing cards and just mow them down. Now there's no blood, no nothing. I will give them that. But just mow down 7 guys. And then right after that, they take the lead mob guy at the time and they put him in a box and they pour concrete on him. And it's not even like they close the box at the beginning and they just like, you kind of get the hint of what he's doing. They have the box open and they're pouring the fucking concrete on his head. And he's just like drowning in concrete to begin with. And then like right before they drop him, they close the box. And then I think like right before that or right in the middle of that, there's a cop on the outside that followed the bad guys. And they go and you see a silhouette. It's all silhouetted. So it's very interesting. But there's a silhouette of a gun right behind the cop's head. And bang, and the cop drops. So again, no blood or anything. But I did not remember it being this violent. I'm like, okay, what is this rating? What are we going on? So it was made in 1990 or released in 1990, and it was rated PG. That blew my mind because I'm used to 2021. I'm used to all the Karens around. I'm used to everybody having to protect the little faces and I realized right then and there, without looking into anything else, nobody gave a fuck about us in the 90s.
No, not at all.
80s or 90s.
Yeah, it was. Now, have either of you guys seen Dick Tracey?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
Al Pacino, baby.
Now, I will say, because we're going to jump around what we actually watch and then a little bit of what we watch. All these stereotypes of Al Pacino came from this movie. The yelling, the crazy acting, the weirdness, all that stuff, I believe all came from this specific movie because the list just hits them all. He's fantastic in it. I love him. He's psycho. But yeah, I will say, if you haven't watched it, don't get your hopes up or anything. It's kind of like an offbeat Batman. Like there's a lot of stuff because like the music guy's the same between Batman and this movie. I think there's a few other things that are the same. So it's very Batman film style. It's almost like they got into the Joel Schumacher bin before they actually got into it for Batman. But yeah, it was, and then like it's one of those insane movies. I can't even explain some of it. Like, Country, what are your thoughts? I'm guessing you haven't seen it in a hot minute, but
yeah. It's been probably since sometime when I was a little kid. But I mean, what I can remember is, I mean, it was violent to a certain extent. It was right before they really started coming out with the parental advisory on everything and changing all the laws. I mean, I would love to see a remake of it now, especially since they're allowed to show blood in movies. Put that sucker at like a rated R. I mean,
out of all the movies that
they won't do it, but
yeah, out of all the movies that have currently been remade, and we talked about this. I don't think it was on camera, but we talked about this on the last time you were on. Oh, it was right before your show, I think.
About the Dick Tracey movie about them remaking.
Doing a remake. Like, they've done so many different remakes right now. Why not do a Dick Tracey movie? And I pointed out that it should have Chris Evans as Dick Tracey. I think he would just be perfect spot on Dick Tracey right now. And he's got that little bit of a build. You know, he could cut back a little bit because Dick Tracey's not like
not Captain America.
Yeah. He doesn't need to be Captain America build. But man, it was interesting, and then they nailed it with the way they treated the ladies in the movie. It's I
hope Al Pacino is still somehow playing it again. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. He could be the older guy, the more established guy. Maybe they keep him around a little bit longer. I hope he has the energy as he used to. But yeah, out of all the stuff, like how we have not touched Dick Tracey, or maybe even I think it would be cooler, not a movie, but do one of these Netflix series and just let it be rated R and get those longer stories in it and everything.
Did
I don't know if they
you
can make it last.
Sorry, did you see the Perry Mason remake?
I have not.
They've done it on a show. I think it's on HBO. But that one's really interesting as well. If you're talking about like detective dramas and things like that, like I remember watching some Perry Mason and stuff like that. So
Okay.
that remake was really good. They used the guy from what's the show? The Americans. Like the father from The Americans is Perry Mason, and it's kind of like how he got into the beginning of the show. So it was really well done. I liked it.
That's awesome. What's up, Will Schuyler? Good to see you from Willow's Pillow Talk here on the HWWS WebTV network. Good to see you guys. We also have Robert popping in. Thanks for checking out the show, sir. Kyle Nunez says, I'm just a youngin' here, born in 96. You were probably right around the same age as my youngest brother, I think. Yeah, so yeah, that's funny. So yeah, we get Dick Tracey, and then I was just trying to go through. I'm terrible at all my prep work, so I was doing it right before the show. But the other one, because I was kind of just thinking about random stuff we watched in the 90s that I just don't think would flow now or would be more of a rated R thing. But a lot of this stuff, like Dick Tracey, was pointed towards children. I think he was. I want to say McDonald's even had stuff for them. If I remember correctly, it was back in the day. It was either McDonald's or Burger King. Whatever movie was coming out, you went to one of them. But another one that I think is hilarious is Tales from the Crypt. Did you guys ever get into that show?
Oh, a little bit.
I've never liked horror stuff. I've never been into it, so I never watched the full show. But I know of the character. I watched a little bit of like his intros and stuff. But I forgot. So you had Tales of the Crypt for itself. Now, was that geared towards children? Does anybody know that one?
No, I wouldn't think so. They came on very late, and so it was more towards the older audience for sure. Because it was after, I want to say after like 10 Eastern when it would come on, 10 or 11.
That's what I was thinking. Because I remember being at my cousin's house and watching it really late and going, "No, I don't want to watch this. I don't like this." I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep ever. But yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with Tales from the Crypt, you guys got to go check it out. I'm figuring some millennials, or not even millennials, but some Generation Z would be popping in, or younger millennials. If you've never seen it, he's creepy as hell. But it was basically he would introduce movies, shows. Again, it's so old, I don't remember how exactly that part worked. But he was really creepy and very dark.
Yeah, it was like little mini shows, like kind of like Are You Afraid of the Dark? I like that.
Yeah.
So like mini, like I won't say skits, but it was like just mini episodes in each.
Little mini shows in one show. Yeah. And then I totally forgot the two things that spun off of that. They made a kids cartoon from Tales from the Crypt. It was let's see. Tales from the Crypt animated. That went from 93 to 97. It was 5 seasons on ABC. Shout out to my wife for writing all this stuff down for me. I have no idea what it was about, but the Crypt Keeper was in it. It was I think it was more toned down, and it was on freaking ABC. That's how popular this thing got with kids that they made it into a kids thing.
See, for me, so I grew up in a very sheltered. I come from kind of a religious background, so like what I wasn't allowed to watch was very fluid. It's like the scariest thing I was allowed to watch was like the Goosebumps series on Nickelodeon. That was borderline. Like it was
really,
yeah, man. Like the amount of shows that I've had to go back and rewatch as like a young adult or like when I was older, like was, that's where a lot of, I've actually had to go back and rewatch stuff because I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid.
You poor child.
I know. Like the list would shock you.
Well, and like, if we're talking about that, my household, at least on my mom's side, I had a split family. I had my mom's house and then my dad's house with my stepmom. And they were totally different. Especially when my brothers got older, because I have 2 half brothers that are way younger than me. Okay. One's like 7 years younger and the other one's like 13 years younger. So very different ways of being raised. At my mom's house, I was allowed to watch whatever I want. The guy that helped raise me, that she was with for a good majority of my childhood, was into making movies. He actually worked on movie sets, did stuff. So I knew how it all worked. So like as a child, I watched The Godfather, Commando.
Oh shit. Okay.
Anything. Like there was no filter, no nothing. But then like, and my dad's place was like that for a little bit, but then my brothers got older and started repeating things and started getting in trouble. So then I showed up one day and wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons anymore. And I went, what fucking house am I in? They're like, yeah, we can't. I'm like, you have 3 channels, Dad. What am I supposed to watch? You know? So yeah, like I've always, there was nothing that I've never been able to not watch. How was your growing up, Country?
Oh man, pretty much very lenient as possible. Like I was able to watch pretty much whatever I wanted. I wasn't allowed to go run wild sometimes, but most of it was like single mom. So yeah, I was pretty much like got into trouble a few times, but I was pretty much able to watch whatever I wanted.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we've got a little bit of it. I'm glad we got Brian on because I just your story reminds me of my cousins on my dad's side. Their parents were very religious when we were younger. So like every time I showed up over to their house, they were fucking watching VeggieTales. And I went, what the hell is this?
So did I. That was yeah. It
Oh.
wasn't quite that bad. Like I was allowed to watch other stuff than that, but I definitely. So I'm also the oldest in my family as well. So I have 2 younger siblings. So a lot of times, and they're both girls, and my dad traveled for his job. So a lot of like I never got to pick a TV show. Like I always got overruled as far as what I wanted to watch and what.
So you watched all the girly stuff.
Some of it. Saturday mornings, that was my time. So that was my time to shine. Like I watched a lot of like Saturday morning cartoons, the Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man, the X-Men series, The Tick, which is very underrated. Most people don't even remember that show. But yeah, that was kind of my thing. Is I would kind of keep everybody quiet so I could watch my shows, and some of the ones that I wasn't like allowed to watch that would come on, maybe a little earlier. I'd wake up, make sure my mom was still sleeping and catch those in the mornings. But yeah, it was a lot of Disney Channel. We watched a lot of fucking Disney Channel.
Yeah, Disney was the safer one, I would imagine. I don't think it was too bad.
No.
But I'm figuring nothing on Fox for you guys.
Yeah, that was not a whole lot.
Fox had the really good cartoons.
Yeah,
I was going through the list because I just typed in my phone. I typed in 90s TV shows. So you had like cartoons like Gargoyles.
Yep. Okay, I could watch that one. Yep, I love that one.
Yeah, that was Disney, so that one I think was safe, or at least it ended up Disney eventually.
Yeah. It was on USA for a long time.
Yeah, I love the Gargoyles, man.
Yep.
That is, I still go back. I can find the first and second season, I think, but that third season is really hard to find. But I have one of the seasons on DVD, like the first and second. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing too. Like I think when the 90s hit for cartoon wise, I think the 80s cartoons. Now, there's no bash to the 80s cartoons, but the 80s cartoons were very single episode focused.
Yeah.
There was no overarching storylines. There was no growth in the characters.
Right.
Like it was this story, and it was teaching you stuff. And that's why I've always enjoyed cartoons, because that's where I learned mostly how to be a decent human.
Correct.
It's cartoons.
Public service announcements at the end of G.I. Joe's.
Right. Exactly.
I watch The Simpsons all the time, so that kind of explains a lot now.
It explains a lot. Yeah, especially though it's not the early Simpsons. Now it's like kind of a weird different Simpsons, but those early ones, whoo. I mean, they had a guy get shot by a baby one time. And then there's South Park. That's a whole other different discussion.
Oh yeah, South Park changed the game. Took it.
Yeah.
Said, forget your level. I'm just going above and beyond. And then Family Guy came out, and then
now
which was like South Park Light.
Was Family Guy 90s?
No.
Yeah,
no.
okay. But South Park was at least 90s. We had the Simpsons and South Park.
Late 90s, I believe.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. But when we get into cartoons like Gargoyles and even a lot of the Disney ones, we were getting more and more cartoons that had those. They were still a little bit on the episodic side, but they were having a long over-arc storyline through the season, which was cool, but also kind of sucked as a kid because you didn't understand when shit was on and not on. Or if you missed one Saturday morning, you had no idea what was going on in the story.
Right.
You know, so it's cool to look back now and see how things were working and we were getting more of those longer stories and everything. And Gargoyles is probably one of the big examples of the long overarching stories that changed.
Right.
Yeah. Batman the Animated Series, I think would fall into that category too. You'd get a lot of like 3 or 4 episode kind of run togethers where you get the to be continued at the end of the thing and you know, fuck.
Yeah.
And your mom hears you say that and you're like, oh shit, I'm in trouble now.
I meant fork.
Yeah. Frick. Yeah.
Yeah. Batman Animated Series was, and it got dark in some point.
Yeah.
Too. That was the one that kind of tested the lines, gave you a little bit more of an adult content, but still kept it kid wise.
Correct.
Made you trust nobody.
Right.
That's what I learned from that one. And just the man, that music, couple of notes from that music from any of the episodes, you automatically know what it's from.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I love that music. Now, do you guys remember, because we're going to jump around randomly here and there, but this is still a kid's show, but it was actually on, and there was a lot more, I felt like to me, family shows on Friday nights. You had TGIF for ABC and stuff like that. So the first one I thought of and saw was Dinosaurs. Do you guys read into that?
Yep.
That's now on Disney Plus too.
Yes, it is on Disney Plus. Yep. I actually just went through it a couple years ago because it was on Netflix for a hot minute, and I watched the hell out of it. First off, just what they did for that show and the way they made it, it looked phenomenal. It was amazingly done. The animatronics, the costumes, everything just is awesome. And that damn baby.
Yeah.
Not the mama.
And actually, you will find if you see a TikTok for you youngins again, if you were flipping through TikTok and you hear something of "not the mama," that is ours from the Dinosaur show.
That's ours. Can't have it. Yeah,
I've seen a couple people have the little puppet Baby Yoda, and they've been recreating that with different things for that sound.
That'd be
I think I saw one. It was Baby Yoda and Mando. And he's like, if you do that one more time, I'm going to knock you across the room. He's like, not the mama. And he goes and throws Yoda across the room.
I like it.
Yeah, it's and back real quick to the Dick Tracey thing. Willow pointed out the problem with Dick Tracey is Warren Beatty. Yeah, Warren Beatty owns the rights to the character or the movie rights. So there won't be anything for that for a while. What the hell, Warren? Release the rights. And then apparently she is going to be a bad influence on you, Brian.
Oh, perfect. I need more bad influences in my life.
So I'm curious, what are some that you were not allowed to watch? Because we haven't hit any that.
Okay.
How about Animaniacs?
Yeah, I can watch that one. That one was okay. Yeah,
that one's a line drawer, I would think.
Right.
Though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch it now, you're like, wow, there's a lot of adult jokes in this that I did not understand.
See, she didn't actually. Here's the thing: my mom didn't actually like watch any of the shows to like curate the content. She was just like getting feedback from like what other parents in the church were saying, and so, or if there was like an overarching theme. Like for instance, one example is Power Rangers. I wasn't allowed to watch the Power Rangers.
Oh man, I taught you how to do kung fu.
No, so I would go over to my friend's house down the street and we'd watch Power Rangers. Ren and Stimpy, was, I mean, that's an obvious one. Like that's
I didn't, as a kid, I did not like Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, really?
I've never been into the real raunchy cartoons, like Ren and Stimpy and stuff from like
Pinky and the Brain.
Pinky and the Pinky and the Brain's more Animaniacs, and it wasn't as
There
was
it's
more
not as raunchy.
In Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah. Ren and Stimpy is basically like bad SpongeBob.
Yeah.
It was like a precursor to SpongeBob, and they dialed it down a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of times too that I just didn't get it. I was watching with a few people, and they're like laughing. I go, am I not getting a joke? Am I not I don't know. I don't know if I was too old for my own age because I had to take care of myself quite a bit. So I don't know if but I loved like stuff like Darkwing Duck. So I'm like, I watch Darkwing Duck, but I don't get. I don't know. I don't know the math.
So the other big one that I get a lot of shit for is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So you weren't allowed to watch anything fighting wise.
No, it wasn't fighting. It had to do more with like the mutant aspect. She wasn't a big fan of the mutants. She doesn't really know how that works with creationism, I guess.
She was getting worried you were learning about evolution and shit.
Yeah, basically.
What was it with Power Rangers?
They didn't get their power from God. So there's a comedian. I don't know if you've heard of this guy, John Christ. He's got a whole bit about this, about like growing up in church. And there's a whole like Rugrats was another one that I wasn't allowed to watch because Angelica was a brat. Let's see. Okay. The Simpsons, obviously.
I can see the Simpsons. Rugrats is a stretch for me.
Yeah, because they talk back and they disobeyed their parents and stuff like that. Like those, basically anything that kind of pushes back on any like wholesome family values, I guess, was a little weird.
Were you allowed to watch
the evils of Pokemon?
So that is what kind of broke her. Was I started playing the Pokemon Game Boy game, and then was watching the show and all that kind of stuff. And I at that point I was old enough to kind of like mind manipulate my mom a little bit to where I could kind of like talk my way into stuff and out of stuff. So.
I can't believe you missed the Power Rangers and like I've
watched them. I've watched them all. I've gone back and watched them all. Don't worry. I've seen them all.
Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles is like my life as a child. Like everything was one or the other.
We used to grab sticks and act like we were Ninja Turtles with Power Rangers back when I was
and nobody wanted to be Donatello.
No, Donatello's fucking worse. So this is fucking nerd. I want to push him into a locker. Do what?
I always want to be Raphael.
Yeah. I was always Michelangelo. I always had nunchucks. I still have nunchucks in my room to this day.
Yeah, I was never funny enough to be Mike.
No.
Yeah, and cool fact, I actually have a poster. I don't know where the hell it is. Oh yeah, it's over there. I have a full poster of one of my paintings. I took a bunch of different paintings, 4 of them, and it's all the original Ninja Turtles from like the original cartoon. And I went to Tampa Bay Comic-Con one year and got them signed, each one by all the original Ninja Turtle voice actors.
Nice.
Oh, shit. That's really cool.
That is probably like my prized possession of signed stuff because it's my art and their autographs and my favorite cartoon as a kid. So, yeah,
right.
That's
awesome. Yeah. Like I said, I had a friend that like lived down the street that didn't go to church or anything. So I could like go over and play at his house and we just watch all the TV that I wasn't allowed to watch. So I still got it in, but yeah.
And my cousin was like a little bit like that, but he showed me stuff I didn't know about and got me into different things. So he'd be like, "Oh, you heard about this? Or have you heard of this game?" I'm like, "Oh no." He always had like different stuff than I did. And I was always jealous because he had every freaking Power Ranger toy known to man. I'm like, you bastard.
Dude, I still have like the Batman action figures. I still have like a massive box of that at my parents' house. Like all of them. Like I mean, they're all played with, so they're probably worthless. But I had all the vehicles, all the characters, all of it.
I'm mad at myself. I always want to get I had the original Megazord and I don't know, maybe I didn't have the original. I think I had the Ninja one. I never got the original Megazord. Okay. my cousin had it. That cousin had it. I was jealous. But I have been trying because I am friends with Mikey from Ranger Stop, who does the Ranger Stop Con. And every time I saw him at an event, I'd be like, okay, if I make enough money, I'm coming over and buying, because he would always have a couple. I'm like, I'm coming over to buy one. And I never made enough money. I still don't have one. And one of these days I will. That is my goal before I die, is to have one. I just want them up in my little art cave here. And it's weird. Like, I don't have children, so I just buy the shit that I didn't get when I was a kid.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah,
I have 2 girls, so I have like My Little Pony stuff in my podcasting room right now.
There you go. So another thing, we're kind of sticking to. I didn't realize that you could just stick to cartoons because there's so many to. Did you guys ever? Now this might be past the 1990s. Did you guys get into Beast Wars at all?
Yeah, I remember that one.
And that's what I remember a lot from when we're growing up too, is they were starting to play, especially like mid 90s to a little bit later, they started playing with more 3D animation for shows, and more shows were getting green light. And nowadays they look kind of terrible.
Yeah.
But back then it was cutting edge stuff, and Beast Wars, I think, was the first one. If you want a really cool history lesson of Beast Wars and a bunch of other old shows, go to Sci-Fi Wire. Just type it in on YouTube, and they have the things you didn't know about whatever show. And they do a bunch of like Freakazoid, Beast Wars. I want to say Animaniacs is on there too. And they just give you like a cool history of it. And it's really, and fun facts, different things. They go by the voice actors and stuff. So yeah, that's a really cool thing.
Beast Wars was the Transformers spinoff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was 96 to 99. I just looked it up. So
okay, cool. I was right. It was in the 90s.
Yep.
Willow says it's such a great show. I loved freaking Beast Wars. I had as many Beast Wars toys as I could get. I asked for those for every freaking holiday, and then would not let my brothers touch them because they were so hard to transform that my brothers would go and break them, and then I would break my brothers.
Yeah, I was a teenager in those years, so I was starting to get more into sleeping in late, no more Saturday morning cartoons, and pretty much if it wasn't The Simpsons or something funny like that, or South Park, I wasn't watching it at that time.
Yeah, I never got out of the cartoons, and I still haven't gotten out of the cartoons. It's like I still catch like new ones, not as much because they've gone to a different animation that I'm not a fan of. But like, because like Gumball is one now, and that's a really weird one. I'm like, what the hell? Willow brings up another good one is Reboot. That was. Did you guys remember that one?
Yes. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's
that is on somewhere. I want to say Hulu. You can go and watch, and I need to see if it's on Hulu because I want to go back and watch that. I loved Reboot, and that was one of those ones. And that's the other thing, like going back as an adult now, I've been going back and watching cartoons that you couldn't see every episode because they wouldn't play them in order, or you didn't understand time. I've been going back and getting like the full stories of shows that I missed.
Fuck, man, dude, that's one of those shows where like I remember watching it, but I can never remember what it's called, and I try to explain it to somebody, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
That's what I'm thinking over here. What the hell?
Okay, so Reboot were they in one computer or the internet?
I think it was the internet.
Okay, so they're in the internet, and they're basically the avatars you play in games. And to get to be the avatar, like so if we were playing, we would log in, and our avatar would be one of them.
Okay.
And then they have like they're playing the game for you, but there's also like viruses or bad guys that want to destroy the little land. And then like the game is kind of fucked up. The game would fall onto one of their city blocks and would change the whole, like you'd be like sitting there drinking a soda, and then all of a sudden the game drops on you and you're part of a game now. Yeah. And it overrides you for temporary time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There was also a Johnny Quest type reboot almost. Do you remember that? Like where they could like jump into almost like a simulation.
I do not.
I thought it was a Johnny Quest type show, but that was another good show, Johnny Quest.
Okay, yeah, Johnny Quest was a good one. I never got into that one.
That one I remember.
And now that was an older one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely before the 90s, I think.
Well, I thought there was like a 90s version.
There might be. I don't know if I ever watched it.
I think it was more mid 90s. Or maybe early to mid 90s.
And then the other cool thing about Reboot too was they actually evolved the characters after like a season or two. So like the characters grew up and got hardened, and like the kid that was in it became an adult and had like an eye patch and shit. So that's like the first time. That and Beast Wars are the first two I remember where like the characters fully changed and evolved, and they weren't the same at the end.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Never watched it, but it looks like Netflix did a live action version of it.
Of what? Which is that?
Of Reboot?
Reboot, yeah.
Really?
Called Reboot: The Guardian Code.
Oh
shit! I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah, I wonder how terrible that might be. We go and watch it. It was that terrible. So what other shows influenced us when we were younger? Now, were you allowed to? One popped up that I absolutely loved. Home Improvement.
Oh
yep.
yeah.
Man.
Yep.
That was one of those ones. That one and Aladdin, the movie, it introduced me into what comedians were.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand. I didn't know what comedians were until I listened to or watched Aladdin and got introduced to Robin Williams because I just loved the character and voice. So I was explained like who the voice was and shown his acts and everything like that. And then getting into Home Improvement, I thought the guy was really funny, and people were explaining to me, yeah, that's a comedian and he has his own show now. He did stand up. So yeah, those were my two launching points to get into stand-up comedy and start liking that.
Yeah, see, and I'm kind of the same way. I mean, Robin Williams burned like real hot in the 90s. He was in all the shows in the 90s, which, you know, for me, I love
movies in the 90s.
Yeah, I always thought he was hilarious. And then as I got older, I was like, oh shit, this guy actually does like stand up and it's raunchy as hell. And I loved it. I mean, Robin Williams was this, I love his stand up. Tim Allen, I actually didn't know that he did stand up for a long time. But the other thing is my dad is a big Steve Martin fan. And so he actually would play me some of his stand ups because it was decently clean. Yeah, he runs a fairly clean show. But
He's
still,
not bad.
yeah, it's still funny as hell. So
what about Bob Saget? Did you get to see Bob Saget?
I got to see Bob Saget on America's Funniest Home Videos. So that's
man,
when I first saw his stand up after watching him on Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, I was like, holy shit.
That'll change your life.
That's the same guy.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, you're kind of like, that's Danny Tanner. What?
Yeah, right.
And I
joked about
that one out when
then he would talk about the show and everybody on the show, and
he'd talk about like fucking DJ and shit like that or wanting to. I was like, oh, this is weird. I don't know how I feel about this. You're a creepy old man.
Creepy old man. And then he's actually he's been on the radio show The Monsters down here in Florida a few times, and even lives like he's even more unfiltered there. Like he has to keep it radio safe, but he's like gone off the rails here and there. And you're like, you used to be like the dad I idolized. What the hell? Like, well, that explains a lot too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and let's see, what other comedian shows did we have? We had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's the first time I learned about recasting.
Yeah, when they changed the mom out.
Yep.
He looks different.
Plastic surgery.
Have you gone through and watched the not the reboot, but where they all get them back together on HBO?
I have not. That is on my watch list.
It'll get you in the feels for sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. There's supposed to be I don't know if it's reboot.
There's a fan-made movie trailer on YouTube, and it got the attention of Will Smith.
Yeah,
and they're thinking about it's either a movie or they're going to come out with a new show, but they look pretty more serious though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miniseries. That was what it was. And there's a more serious, like, you know how the original Fresh Prince was comedy. This looked like more serious, more like drama. So it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think that looks really interesting. Yeah, you know, and I always like when they reboot something but with a new take to it. So I'm down for that. I would definitely check it out. Let's see, we got a couple people checking in. Kyle Nunez says we need Robin Williams back.
God, man, that hurt me bad. Like, that was one of the few celebrity deaths where I was like, "Fuck!" Like,
that was one of the few I actually teared up about.
Yeah, and to think about he was dealing with depression that whole time, and you would never have known.
No,
I mean, we only knew him through his movies and his comedy, but even the people close to him, they said that they never saw this coming.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, he was just such a big influence for me as a kid, and then getting in, you know, I grew up with him and getting different movies with him and seeing the different sides, and just to have that go down, I'm like, it shook me, man. And it still does. It's still like you'll do, like, it's always fun watching Aladdin, but it always makes me a little sad.
I mean, they could have done so much better with the genie than Will Smith. I mean, Will Smith is kind of a funny guy, but and especially if they were trying to take it, you know, with an African American as the genie, like, I can think of funnier guys that would have played, like Wayne Brady. I think Wayne Brady could have played the genie almost perfectly. Like, that's one person that I could think, if you're going to recast Robin Williams with all of his voices and his style of comedy, I think Wayne Brady should have been that guy.
I wanted Gabriel Iglesias. I thought he could do enough impressions. Yeah, enough impressions, enough different voices to get close to Robin, because that's really what you just, like, you know, you can have all the energy, and I think
happy birthday, Cal.
Yeah, happy birthday, Cal Nunez. But I think with Will Smith's genie, he didn't have the craziness with him, and the out of, like, almost out of body experiences when he was doing the references and stuff.
Right.
And then
that was the thing from the movie was, like, you know, he would just kind of poof and be a new character, because that's part of Robin Williams' genius. Mm-hmm. And Will Smith just doesn't have that in him. Will Smith is fairly one dimensional as an actor and as even just in his speaking tone. Like, he kind of has a monotone almost voice, which works for rap, but
even
not
in the
for
singing too. Like, you listen to, now I did like the version of Prince Ali. His version of Prince Ali was cool, got a little bit of a different mix to it. But Friend Like Me, he doesn't have the energy to it.
Correct.
Like, he's just kind of singing to it, and he doesn't have that oomph to it. And I think that's really where it was missing.
Right.
It's hard to follow up Robin Williams. I mean, come on.
For sure.
Robin Williams, a legend. It's very hard to follow up any of his roles.
But just going with Will Smith was such a weird decision for me. Like, you have so many people that could do more voices.
Correct.
And you went with a guy that doesn't do really any.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he killed it as Muhammad Ali, but wasn't great as Genie.
Yeah. No. Well, and then, like, the whole, when it comes to anything live action, or like the live action remakes, I can't stand the shot for shot remakes. I really liked Sleeping Beauty's live action one.
Yep.
What the hell is her name? Maleficent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the way they did Maleficent, you're getting the same story, but it's from a different point of view. And it's a whole different story because of that different point of view.
Right.
I'm really excited for Cruella. The trailer just dropped last week or so. That looks fantastic. I can't wait, because I love Emma Stone. She's one of my celebrity crushes.
Is she playing Cruella DeVille?
Yeah, she's playing. Oh, you haven't seen the trailer?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, dude, when you're done here, go look up that trailer.
This should be good.
She looks phenomenal. She looks psycho as hell.
Nice.
They're not holding back. Like, and the coolest scene is she's got this, like, white robe on, and she goes to this really, like, masquerade ball. Everybody's in black and white, and everybody's all dressed up to the nines and everything. And she walks in with this, like, weird hood thing on. And when she makes her grand entrance, when she stops and stands there, she lights it on fire, I think with her cigarette or something. The whole white part burns away, and she's wearing this bright red dress with the mask, and just this, like, go fuck yourself look to it.
Hell yeah.
And she looks, and her accent's perfect through it. I am totally down to see this movie. And that's what I want to see more. It's like you could take the character and tell a story like it, but just tell a different side of it.
Yeah.
And then going back to the 90s stuff, that actually leads us into something I thought about with Disney movies in the 90s. I'm pretty sure they killed off almost every bad guy at the end of the movie in horrible ways or another. The most I remember, and I'm pretty sure it was 90s, is Tarzan.
Yeah.
Late 90s, but I think it made it the 90s still.
Hold on, let me check. I'll look it up for you.
Hung that motherfucker from vines, and you saw his silhouette.
Yeah, it was creepy.
Like, even as a kid, I'm going, well, that's a little much.
Yeah, Tarzan was 99, so just slipped in there.
Just made it.
Yeah.
But we killed him. They killed Mufasa. They killed Scar.
Yeah.
Everybody had dead parents.
Yeah.
Like, nobody could survive a Disney movie.
There were some dark Disney movies during that time too. I think The Hunchback of Notre Dame was during that time period, and that's a pretty dark fucking movie. Like, it deals with some very interesting, there's racism involved. There's there's some pretty
stuff.
Yeah,
have sex. Like,
yeah,
you watch it again as an adult, and you're going, all right,
right, yeah. It's
Cardwell is being funny and some fun dancing and singing, and
right.
Wow.
Kyle
Nunez's first Disney movie was Toy Story. Oh, Kyle, you're making me feel old, buddy.
That one, I mean, that's kind of dark and twisted too. Like, when you deal with Sid, like ripping dolls' heads off and
making all the ones.
Yeah, like where he mutilates these toys. Yeah, that's a little dark and twisty too.
Then you go and look at that that old style, because if you watch Toy Story 4, that thing almost looks realistic.
Yeah,
there's parts it's hard to tell that they made it animated, but you look back at Toy Story and you look at Andy's dead eyes. You put the two Andys together. You youngins don't understand the dead eyes we had to stare at as a kid.
Right.
We thought it looked good.
Right.
This is amazing. And you look at it now, it's like, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna be haunted at night by that little fucker. But yeah, Disney movies, and I actually want to do another episode down the road. There's this weird time frame because I just watched. Do you guys watch honest trailers on YouTube? Okay, so if you're into movies like I am, honest trailers are really cool. You just type in honest trailers and you'll find all their videos. But they pick a movie and they give an honest feedback of the movie. And sometimes it ruins movies for you. Like, you think it's a great movie, especially like old Disney movies, and then they point out kind of the fucked up things for it. And you're like, oh shit. And honest trailers pointed out, I totally lost where I was going with this. What was I gonna go with? Hold on. Shit. Oh, yeah. So I just watched Lilo and Stitch. So Lilo and Stitch is like mid 2000s, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was like the only gem on this long time period of like shitty movies from Disney before they got Pixar. Because you got movies like Treasure Planet and Brother Bear.
Great movie. What are you talking about? I love Treasure Planet.
But it didn't do well financially. Like, it's a kind of a cult classic now.
Yeah.
But as an actual movie that came out, it's gorgeous. I love it. I love the music to it, the story. I thought it was a cool way to tell that story.
Yeah.
But it didn't do well box office wise. And then Brother Bear, I don't remember liking at all. I think they ended that one stupidly.
I was definitely not allowed to watch that one.
But Lilo and Stitch is my absolute favorite. Like, I love Stitch. He's my favorite character of all time. But yeah, it's these older movies were a lot different. But I'd love to do a show where you're talking about just that weird span of Disney movies of just shit. And now you're like, every movie they come out now is like so much better. We got Kyle Nunez popping in again. Toy Story was dark and twisted for real. Yeah, well, even Toy Story 4 gets kind of dark. They got the goosebump looking fuckers in there that are terrifying. And then the one doll wants a freaking voice box and wants to steal out of Woody. I'm like, you are terrifying.
Yep.
What's up, Brian Winslow from Wheels and Heels? Thank you for popping in. Yeah, I gotta watch. I think Treasure Planet's on Disney Plus. I gotta watch that.
Probably his hover. I wanted his hoverboard so bad.
Oh yeah,
because I grew up surfing and skating, so like that was like space surfing, and I was like, I need that in my life. The other fictional thing that I coveted was the kids from Tailspin. Did you guys ever watch Tailspin?
Oh, I love Tailspin.
Yeah,
so
like
little metal one.
Yeah, his little like metal like flippy thing that he would ride around behind the plane, which I know is completely unrealistic, but I wanted that one bad too.
Man, those Disney cartoons, that chunk of like Saturday morning cartoons, yeah. Let's see, you had Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Gummy Bears, Chip and Dale.
That's how old I am. I remember Chip and Dale.
Chip and Dale Rescue. I have that. I remember that one. Care Bears.
Care Bears. Yep.
Gummy Bears was great.
Well, and I got to give it. So I know a lot of people have shit on it, just because they don't like the art style or they don't like their way. But the new DuckTales that has come out.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of all that 90s Saturday morning cartoon stuff, you got to watch through DuckTales and watch closely the background stuff that they do. They drop hints and things and made this thing a complete universe. There's stuff for Gummy Bears. There's the creation of Chippendales. You see Chippendales get created somehow, and they could almost go and drop another show and have Chippendales now. It's fantastic. Gotcha. And it's a very cool, that goes back to those long overarching storylines. Like you get little ones here and there, little stories, but there's always that long overarching story. The new DuckTales is fantastic for it. Brian Winslow brought one up I forgot was Goof Troop. I love Goof Troop. The music was fantastic for it too, especially the intro. Oh man, I love that. And those were good ones because they were getting that 90s edge. You had Bonkers as well.
Yeah,
but there wasn't the cuteness to it. We're getting a little bit more edgy, and your characters were getting more sarcastic and rebels, and you know, and you got darker characters. I think in all those, it still kept it cute to a certain extent, but like DuckTales was like the early part of that, very cutesy, and it's very different style between the early ones and then the later ones of the Disney afternoon or Saturday morning content.
Darkwing Duck also kind of took some darker turns too. Especially towards the end of the series. Like there were some definitely some interesting episodes there towards the end. Like it got kind of dark. I was like, I like it. Yeah.
I keep hoping that they and they've done a light reboot of Darkwing Duck in the DuckTales series, and he's fantastic, and I really loved how they did it. I really keep hoping he gets his own series because we need Darkwing Duck back.
For sure.
I love it. I got to do a painting of him sometime soon because especially the newer style, they got a really cool art style to him and everything. Let's see what else. Hey, Kyle Nunez, I think this is early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, but Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah, it was later than the 90s.
That was a fantastic movie. The sequel, not so much. But yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff we didn't even talk about because I actually used to watch a lot of adult shows too. I watched Friends. I did not get into Seinfeld when I was younger, but I watched Friends. I watched.
I was definitely older too, and finally got into Seinfeld. It was already off. Like it was just all reruns and stuff by the time I actually started watching it.
Friends I got into and I think it was because my mom was younger, so she was really into it, and we watched it all as a family. And I remember watching that last season and being sad that it was going to be the season finale and everything, or series finale. Excuse me. Oh, Brian brought up two good ones. I don't know if you guys remember these. Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice.
And SWAT Cats. You guys remember that?
Yes.
SWAT Cats had the best music, man. That was getting really into that metal night. Oh, geez, I got the hiccups apparently. The metal 90s or something like that.
Yeah. And then do you guys remember the what was the shark? It was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but with sharks. Street Sharks, yeah.
That is amazingly terrible. There was so much. So you had TMNT, you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
And it became so big, everybody tried to make so everything became a mutant. That's where Bikers Mice and Cars came from. That's where Street Sharks. I mean, Street Sharks was legit, just
straight ripoff. But
yeah, straight ripoff.
So
and
good.
I still don't understand how they swam through the roads and came out of the. I don't know the math. Even as a kid, I'm like, that's concrete, buddy.
You more watched it, sitting there going, I know this is too stupid to be watching, but I just can't turn away for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, here's the reality of the situation. A shark is always going to be more badass than a turtle. Like it just is, and so it was just more badass to me. I liked it. I loved it.
Pacific Blue. That's one of the adult shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember my mom used to watch this show called Lois and Clark. It was like a Superman. Yeah, the Adventures of Lois and Clark or something like that. That was one of the adult shows that I would watch.
Yeah, Superman and Lois premieres tonight.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they do with that. I may get into that one. The CW have been kind of about with their stuff, but Flash comes back tonight too, right?
No, I think it's beginning of March.
Okay. I heard kind of a radio thing for it, but yeah, Lois and Clark was amazing, and just the feel and the shininess and very gold. Like everything was very yellow.
Definitely network, like Prime 3 network TV type show.
Yeah.
Well, and we were talking a little bit about it. We touched base. TGIF. I miss TGIF, man. Well, I would go to my dad's house and we would sit down, and it was like a full thing of shows that we watched through. Yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Family Matters,
Step by Step. I think was a part of that.
Boy Meets World.
Oh, Boy Meets World. I love Boy Meets World. I like the later Boy Meets World though. Like the first few seasons, I didn't like, but once they got like teenagers and then that's where I got into it more.
I never watched the Girl Meets World, the when they did, I guess, a few years ago.
I watched a few episodes of that. It wasn't too bad.
My girls like it.
Oh, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
And they did some cool things, like cool shout outs to the older generation ones. So like the parents that were watching with the kids were good with it.
Fuller House has done that too. Have you guys seen Fuller House?
Yeah, I saw the first two seasons, I think, of Fuller House.
First two seasons. I couldn't take, I don't know. I got
bored with it.
Yeah, there was a boredom to it. And then I don't know. There was just something that wasn't hitting right for me.
It was just something, I mean, to me, it was a lot like the original, but I also realized I've outgrown those shows from back then. I loved watching all those shows when I was growing up, but now my taste in shows aren't exactly that. So I watched the first two seasons and I was like, I don't really want to watch anymore.
Yeah. Well, I got two young kids, so it's kind of they're watching it, and that inspired them to go back and watch like all of Full House, through. So, I'm kind of getting to redo a lot of this 90s stuff because, they're getting into either the rerun or the new adaptation, which is then inspiring them to go back and check out some of the older stuff, which.
Who gives me a cool, talking about a new show at the moment, gives me the feel of an old comedy vibe, but it's newer, is Mr. Iglesias, Gabriel Iglesias show on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I seen that one. It's pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, it's an easy watch. There's not too much drama, but it's newer. So you get like the old feel of the comic style, but it's today's comedy. So I really loved if you're looking for something new to watch that's an easy watch right now, I would say check out Mr. Iglesias.
Did you guys watch like Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
I got into that a little bit here and there. That was another one where I didn't fully understand it. Now that I watch it, like it's funny and I get it, but back then it kind of just went over my head.
Okay. See, I watched like the old school cartoons. I still kind of caught like the back end of some of those, like He-Man, Space Ghost, a lot of like the 80s, kind of the 80s ones. And so Space Ghost was kind of funny for me because I knew him as like the superhero character, but then having him be like a talk show host or whatever was always funny. Especially with his co-host being like his arch enemy and things like that. It was always Brack was hilarious. So I like if I couldn't sleep one night, I'd like sneak out to the family room and they just run it for a while. I think it was one of the original shows on like Adult Swim or something like that.
Yeah.
Like way, it started in like 93. So yeah, it was that was kind of like my guilty midnight pleasure was Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
I remember as a kid going, trying to go to bed or staying up late and just turning on Cartoon Network, waiting for Adult Swim to kick on, and then watching all the craziness. We're actually going through Robot Chicken right now.
Nice.
I'm having a rough night or just want to chill for a little bit. I just watched like 5-6 episodes of Robot Chicken to chill for the night, which is probably what I'll do when we're done here. But yeah, I love going back and watching old Robot Chicken. My favorite ones are all the Star Wars stuff. Those are always the best. But yeah, going back and watching some of those, it's a weird, because my wife and I have been together for 14 years. So he was hanging out at my house and we would be sitting on the couch or, hanging out, watching Robot Chicken way back then. And now we're sitting in our bed so many years later watching it again. I'm like, this is kind of like a weird flashback.
Wasn't Red versus Blue? Wasn't that Robot Chicken?
I thought that was something online.
Oh, okay. The Halo series?
I think that was like the first big YouTube series was Red versus Blue. And then it eventually made its way, I think, to Adult Swim for a good minute.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was good. I love that stuff. I got to watch those again. I haven't watched those in a hot minute. Man, there's like so much stuff I have to go back and watch. But yeah, and people are just dropping all kinds of stuff in here. But we're actually at the end of the show. So we'll go through real quick. TGIF is on Hulu. I did not know that. There's Baywatch, The Amanda Show, Saved by the Bell, Step by Step. I could never get into Saved by the Bell.
Nah.
I do love on YouTube, they remastered or like redid some stuff for Saved by the Bell, and it's shows Zach how much he's a villain of the show. I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's basically like Zach Morris is an asshole or something like that.
It's kind of like Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I love Cobra Kai.
The retelling and like reformatting and going, no, he's kind of a dickhead and an asshole.
Yeah.
Family Matters. Brian says the Big Show is good. It's good. I think they canceled it though, if I remember correctly.
I couldn't get into the Big Show.
No, that was another one I liked. There you go, Bunny. My wife just popped in because she can hear me from the other room. Zach Morris is trash. So type that up into YouTube and have a good watch.
All right.
And Ren and Stimpy, we talked about.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, let's start with you, Country. Plug your stuff. Where can people find you, watch you, all that good stuff?
You can find me live tomorrow night. Ginger Chronicles is my podcast. We're doing an episode tomorrow night on the Monday Night Wars between the WWE or WWF and WCW of the late 90s. That's tomorrow night. And then also we have the Country and Henny show. You can find both on the HWWS WebTV Facebook page and their YouTube channel.
Awesome. And Brian, where can they find you and stalk you?
Yeah, we don't have any fancy networks or anything, but the show is called All the Small Stuff. Look it up on any of the social medias, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just either throw podcast or show behind it and we'll pop up. It's just a cartoon image of me and my co-host face, and we record on Monday nights and we go Facebook Live with all of that. So if you want to jump on our Facebook page, you'll be able to catch those live streams every Monday night.
Yeah, you can tune in just like we are here and chat with the guys and let them know that Back Talk with Bauer sent you. But
sure.
Brian, Country, thank you so much for taking the time out on a Tuesday night to chat random 90s shit with me. Hopefully we'll do this again in another month or so because this was really cool, and I think there's so much more. I think we need to do one about toys that we had and do some research because there was some crazy toys back then too.
Video games, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, video games needs to be like a 2-hour show.
Yes, sir, Brian.
There you go. Oh, cool. Brian Winslow will be joining in for a country show tomorrow night, so please tune into that. So, like I said, I am Josh of JBauerArt. This has been man. Yeah, Type that in and see if you can fucking find me.
Put that in your Google machine.
This has been Back Talk with Bauer. You can find everything that I do, the art, the graphic design, the podcast, all at JBauerArt.com. All these paintings for sale. You can find t-shirts like this, the fuckery t-shirt on Threadless. Just find the merch shop tab on the JBauerArt.com. And it'll take you to find all the shirts. There's the cool cassette one, all kinds of different stuff. The parental advisory shirt that I have that I love. And all that awesome stuff. Please like, share, subscribe. Big shout out to everybody. I just hit 500 downloads on my audio version of the show. So thank you guys so much for doing that. We made that right before the 1 year mark. So that's awesome. Support the HWWS WebTV YouTube channel. They've got myself, they've got Country's Show, Reels and Heels, Willow's Pillow Talk, and so much more on there. And shout out to I accidentally locked my thing. NSC Live TV. That's nsclivetv.com, the comic book network created by Geeks for Geeks. They are, if you go to nsclivetv.com, you can find everything on there. They have it set up like channels, like old school channels, and you can find artists, creators, shows like Back Talk with Bauer, and many more. Comic shops. You can find a comic shop to support across the freaking country. So go and check out NSC Live TV. Other than that, I will catch you guys next week. Later.
Peace.